cost of not doing anything to stand up to Vladimir Putin is immense. If he succeeds in Ukraine, he's not going to stop there. He's going to challenge the freedom and democracy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. My name's AJ. I'm here to take you through all of the latest news that's happening around the world. And make sure you wait for the end of the video. I'm going to be going through the Idiot of the Day segment. Today's going to be a good one. I'm also going to be talking mainly about Russia, Ukraine, Great Britain. So yeah, that's it really. The clip you saw in the beginning was basically Liz Truss having the shock of her life, and you can see her scream, "Oh my God," because somebody in the audience fainted during her talk about Russia and Putin. And you can imagine what went through Liz Truss's mind, because the way she was looking shocked and the way she shouted, "Oh my God," she probably thought Putin basically sniped her from from Russia or something. And you can tell she absolutely crapped herself, probably crapped her pants or something. So that's the kind of leader we're going to have in England, somebody who craps their pants something happens on the stage. The lady who fainted on the stage, she's okay. I'm not sure why she fainted. Must have been really bored out of her head in that discussion. But she's okay, so not to worry. Anyway, I'm going to start with this first story here. So this has been written by Scott Ritter, as you know, Scott Ritter. NATO's arsonist-in-chief. Scott Ritter's really funny, isn't he? NATO's arsonist-in-chief, Jens Stoltenberg, wants the Western public to pay for a Ukrainian fire he helped to ignite. So basically, he's saying that EU members should stop complaining and pay the price for Russia-Ukraine conflict, says the leader of the bloc who started it all. So Mr. Stoltenberg is basically telling all of the EU leaders to stop complaining and pay whatever price hike they need to pay, whether it's high gas prices, oil prices. Just do it, because it's basically to stick it to Putin. And it's funny because this guy is not even a leader of any countries. He's just a leader of a bloc and a puppet leader. So he doesn't really have to answer to his people. So if you're basically a leader of Germany right now, and you have to tell your people that there's not enough gas, we're going to have to shut down the industries, we're going to have power cuts, you're going to have to do cold showers, you're going to have to basically not wash your clothes, there's going to be a lot of issues, you're going to have to pay, double, triple your gas prices. So if you're a German citizen, you're going to look at that and think, what the hell? And, first thing you're going to do is you're going to want that government out. So it's all right for this Jens Stoltenberg to basically say, oh, stop complaining, you need to do whatever you can to stick it to Putin. He's not really in charge of any country. He doesn't have that responsibility to make sure his people are fed, make sure his people are warm, make sure his people do not die of hypothermia during winter. So it's really, really kind of sickening for him to say something like that, to be honest. So I'm going to come to Great Britain as well. Great Britain also is getting a huge energy price warning. As you know, we are coming to August now, and around 2 more months, September, October time, they're going to release another price cap, which means that people who used to pay gas prices a year ago will now have to pay 3 times, even 4 times as much. Because right now they've released one price cap around April, and a lot of people's gas bills have doubled, tripled in some areas as well. And now they're going to release a further price cap, which means that a lot of people gas prices which have doubled, they're going to double again, which means their price has quadrupled. And the people that have been paying 3 times as much probably double that as well. So you're looking at huge amounts of gas bills that people will have to pay over the next few months. And this is going to start in October. And this is going to hit people really, really hard, because in October the country is going to be in recession. A lot of people are going to be out of their jobs. A lot of people have actually gone into their savings, and people are running out of savings. A lot of people are paying for huge cost of living, inflation. A lot of people are paying for extra mortgages because mortgage rates have gone up. There are so many issues. I mean, there's just too many to name, and also taxes have risen as well. And then you also have to be paying for the BBC license fee as well. Don't forget, license fee has also gone up. So it's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of headaches the British public are gonna get. So I can see a lot of crap happening around October, but the British people, British people are actually kept very, very dumb. The government has been doing a good job keeping the British public very dumb about this. I mean, every time you look at the TV, every time you're on social media, you get all sorts of images about Love Island. You get images about keeping up with the Kardashians. You're basically fed all of these dumbness, in UK, and people are just kept dumb in UK. I was on the train going to Manchester from London, and I had one guy sitting next to me, and he was watching Love Island on his phone. And I was thinking, is this how you want to waste your brain cells, watching crappy, reality shows like this? Why don't you do some reading or research, or trying to improve your knowledge about the world? And it's absolutely disgusting how people are kept so dumb in Britain, and people are dumb. When you try and have an intelligent conversation with people in Britain, there's not many out there. Literally not many out there. Even my work colleagues, I just kind of have a 5-minute conversation with them, unless they start talking about nonsense and all sorts of crap. I guess people are just kept dumb in UK. A lot of people in UK, they love their pubs, they love drinking. So what they do after work, they go to drink, and they destroy their brain cells by drinking loads of alcohol. Probably some of them take drugs as well. There's a huge drug problem in UK. So UK is being kept very, very dumb. So it just avoids a lot of protests, I guess. Avoids people marching up and down the streets, protesting about what the government's doing. So I guess, this is one way the government gets away with whatever they're getting away with. But I think once the price rise happens again, I think there will be major issues. I think people will have no choice but to go out and protest. There could be even violent riots. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see what happens. So there's another problem as well. The UK's National Security Advisor says that London is sleepwalking into a war with China, which is absolutely true. Basically, London has been very, very vocal in their anti-Chinese stance, and you can see with Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, rather than talking about the economy, how they're going to fix it, all they were talking about is China this, China that. And even during Boris's time, he was being very anti-Chinese, very hawkish. And I think if there was a war in the Taiwanese Strait with the Americans, Britain would easily join in. They would have no questions, no doubt whatsoever. Britain will just join in. And bad news for Britain. Britain would be probably blown out the water. Any aircraft carriers they send around there will be taken out. And this time China can fight back. China has got a lot of submarines that can be sending to English waters and taking the fight to Britain. I mean, this is a war Britain does not want. China is a major superpower with a huge amounts of resources, and they are the factory of the world, and they can churn out missiles and military equipment, like the US has been printing out banknotes. Is not going to be a problem for China. And this is one war UK does not want to get involved in. And unfortunately, it looks like they are, or they will, if there was an issue with the Taiwanese Strait. So it says here, sanctions could leave Russia without fish and chips. So I touched on this a couple of days ago, and looks like this is actually worse than I thought. Seems like around 5,000 of Britain's 10,000 fish and chip shops may have to be shut down. There could be more. There's a lot of ingredients they're not getting from Russia, and Britain's national dish could be basically destroyed, because there is no way people are going to be paying over the price fish and chips, because obviously with the cost of living and stuff, people are rationing with their food. They're not going to be silly and giving money away and throwing money away on fish and chips, especially when fish and chips is very, very unhealthy. It's full of oil. And Britain is it's a very unhealthy country, Britain. I don't know if you've been to Britain. A lot of people here are very chubby. They don't really look after their weight. A lot of people are woke. If you go into the Mediterranean, if you go to Asia, people look after themselves much better. Obviously, they have a better diet. They don't have so much oil and all sorts of fast food going in. But Britain, they love their fast food. They love their oil. They love their fish and chips. And the women here are a lot more bigger than average European women. They don't seem to look after themselves, but women are very, very woke as well. They're very much into body positivity. If you walk down a shopping center, all you see is images of big women in underwear. Like if you walk past Victoria's Secret, you see a big fat woman in underwear. And it's same in all shopping centers. Basically, they're glorifying being obese in UK. Same in America, I guess. They're glorifying being obese. They're glorifying big women. And I just think this is bad gives a bad signal, gives a bad message, because this means that women or men even do not exercise. They don't want to eat healthy. They do not want to keep fit, and it just shows a bad example, saying that being fat is okay. You should be proud of being fat. You should be proud of being chubby or obese. It's not. Being fat, it's not good for your health at all. You are looking at basically going into cardiac arrest before you're 40. You need to be able to look after your health, be healthy, eat healthy, go to the gym, and all of this woke nonsense about big is beautiful. I just don't agree with it. I think everybody needs to eat healthy, needs to go to the gym, look after their bodies, look after their minds, and it's a silly culture we're living in, to be honest. So there's more problems in UK. You can see UK's largest container port is said to be in standstill during strikes. And this is bad news for UK supply chains, and bad news for obviously supermarkets and other businesses who rely on this supply chain, rely on these goods to be transported from these ports. So Britain is having a lot of issues at the moment, and I just don't see any silver lining coming up at all. I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. It just seems to be getting worse and worse every month. And whoever comes in power, whether it's Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak, I just don't think either of them have enough in them to get Britain out this hole. So it's not just Britain having an issue. You can see this article here. Horror chart suggests Germany is on the brink of a huge energy crisis. And basically, as you know, Nord Stream 1 is only sending in 20% capacity of gas into Germany. And that is not enough to fill up Germany's reserve tanks. Already during the summer, a lot of people use air conditioning, and obviously if you use air conditioning, you need energy, and obviously they get their energy from gas. So Germany has not been able to save any energy whatsoever. You have the German leaders who are very vocal in punishing Putin and punishing Russia with sanctions, and they were saying, oh, we're going to get out of Russian gas and oil by the end of the year. Well, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're basically telling Russia what your plans are by the end of the year, and Russia's going to be thinking, you know what, if you're going to basically get out of Russian gas by the end of the year, we might as well just lower our gas exports to you. And which means you're going to have to pay a bigger price, and your reserves are not going to be full. And by the end of the year, we'll see if you actually decide to leave Russian gas or not. And I just think Germany will come back begging to Russia by the end of the year. They will literally be on their knees. I think they're going to there might be a change of government, and when there's a change of government, what they're going to do, they're going to license probably Nord Stream 2 to open, and this is going to cause major issues between Germany and the US. And I think there's going to be a lot of issues happening over the next few months, so watch this space. And I just gotta say, the current German government is such a weak government. I've never seen such puppets in my entire life. I mean, these Greens are absolutely destroying German economy. I mean, how can the people stand for this? I just don't understand it. And Scholz is probably the weakest leader in all of Europe. And I remember when Merkel was around, and they were talking about she's the leader of the free world and stuff like that. So people are holding her in very high regards at the time. And this Scholz guy is right at the bottom of the pile. I mean, I remember when Scholz was making a speech and then Biden was standing next to him, and Biden says, "We're going to make sure Nord Stream 2 is shut down." It's almost like Scholz had no choice. I mean, Scholz had no say whatsoever, and he just sat there looking like a gimp, looking like a gimp, and looking at Biden and saying, "Yes, sir, whatever you say, sir." Oh my God, absolutely ridiculous. So you can see this is the horror chart that they are talking about in the article. This horror chart suggests that Germany is heading for a huge energy crisis. Not only are gas prices near the record highs, but electricity prices in particular are signaling stress. And you can see the bit in yellow. The white bit is the European gas price benchmark, and you can see in yellow how much Germany is ahead of that. And it's just going to get worse, by the way. I mean, this is up till June. Obviously, in July, it's probably even worse. Obviously, there's a lot of heat waves happening, and it's just going to get worse and worse as we approach winter. So this is really, really bad news for the German economy and the German people. So we're coming up to the next story, and as you can see, Biden is making an enemy out of another country, Serbia. And if you know Serbia, you will realize that Serbians love their national hero, Novak Djokovic, and they absolutely adore him. They can't sense anything bad happening to him whatsoever. And what US has done, they have banned him from entering US for the US Open. So the Serbian, parliament and Serbian people are absolutely angry about this. And they're calling on Biden to let him in. And obviously, I don't think Biden's going to allow it, because US does not allow unvaccinated people to enter their country. They have to be fully vaccinated. So this is a big issue. And if US does not let Djokovic in, you can see the anger of Serbs getting extremely high. And this will probably have major repercussions for the US. I mean, Serbia will probably go closer to Russia because of all this, because they realize that the West is against them as well, and the people will also push for Serbia to be closer to Russia as well. And the Serbians, they already have a major distrust of the West, major distrust of NATO, Europeans, and the US, of course. As you know, they were mainly involved in bombing Yugoslavia and completely destroyed the country, split it up into various bits. And the West did that, NATO did that, USA did that, Europeans have done that. So Serbia already has a major distrust of the West at the moment, and all of this is just going to push them further and further towards Russia, and it's just not good. So now we're moving on to Kiev, and you can see Kiev threatens to attack Russian territory. They're obviously getting a bit confident with all of these HIMARS. They think they're going to win the war, they're going to push the Russians back. It's just not going to happen. They promised that they're going to push the Russians back in the Kherson area. Obviously that didn't happen. They have not counterattacked any positions of Russia. And, unless Russia purposely left that area, they have not been able to push back Russia in any parts of Ukraine since 2014. I mean, they've not done it in Crimea, and they're not going to do it now. So all of this is, again, fake news. I wouldn't really listen to or look at any of this. Ukraine say a lot of crap, to be honest. And what do Russians say? Russia says they've destroyed over 100 US-made HIMARS rockets. They've also destroyed a lot of foreign mercenaries as well. So things are not looking good for Ukraine. Russia, I believe, is very, very much looking at HIMARS as a number one priority. They are looking at satellites. They're trying to get intelligence from the ground as well. Moving these major HIMARS trucks around the roads of Ukraine is not going to be easy. They're going to be spotted from the sky, and Russia will pretty much take them out. So it's not going to be easy for Ukraine to be driving these HIMARS around. Plus, also, it gives Russia an excuse to push deeper into Ukraine as well. Like Lavrov had said the other day, that because of these HIMARS, Russia will have no choice but to push deeper into Ukraine, because they have to protect the territory that they have gained. And because of the distance of these HIMARS, and because of these rockets going quite further than everything else that they have got, they're going to have to push deeper and deeper into Ukraine. This means they are definitely going to be going and getting Odessa, going all the way to Transnistria, and maybe more. We will see. So this is a quite funny story. Ukraine blacklists Indians over Russian propaganda. So as you know, Indians have been very much vocal. They have been pro-Russian in all of their articles. I do read the Indian articles a lot. They are very much pro-Putin, pro-Russia in this case. And I guess it really, really frustrates him. I remember the time also there was a lot of Indians stuck at the border who were trying to get out of Ukraine, and they were being subject to racial abuse. They were getting beaten up at the gates, and they were put at the bottom of the food pile. They were left, I think one of them died as well, and they were left with no food or water. So they had a lot of racial abuse along the borders. So Indians obviously didn't like that. So the Indians are not very, very happy with Ukrainians at the moment, and vice versa. So what? So the former security official P.S. Raghavan said he was mystified to see himself on the disinformation list. So it's quite funny that the Ukrainian government is now targeting Indians in the list. So quite hilarious. So now I'm coming up to the idiot of the day. And the idiot of the day has to be Zelensky and his wife. So recently they kind of shot some pictures for Vogue magazine, and I just thought it's absolutely hilarious. I mean, look at some of these images. This is obviously Zelensky's wife standing in front of a broken plane. I believe this is that one of the biggest planes in the world who got destroyed, and she's basically standing in front of it doing a pose. I just found it so hilarious. Then you got Zelensky and his wife obviously posing for Vogue magazine, and look at her, she's obviously, her face has been photoshopped, maybe his as well. So they basically, Zelensky is not only an actor, a comedian, now he can put model on his list as well. So what I've really, really found funny is the comments. And a lot of people are actually not happy about this. And you have to go on Instagram. If you have Instagram, make sure you go on the comment section and read the comments. And Zelensky is not as liked as people think. And there were more negative comments than positive comments I found. And let me show you some examples. So again, I have to ask you guys to make sure you go onto Instagram. They're also on Twitter as well. And again, you will see there are a lot more negative comments than positive. And this is one example. Some person said beautiful, and that person got absolutely slated. Basically saying, please explain what is beautiful here. I don't get it. It's war. People are dying. Blood is everywhere. What is beautiful when this guy is actually the problem that is happening right now in Ukraine? I would have ever thought that Vogue would go down so low to take pictures and making this into fashion. And he's right. There's a war going on. People are dying. And this guy's sending people to their deaths, like Ukrainians to their deaths. And here he is basically posing for Vogue magazine. And, you know, it just showed this guy basically wants to be famous. He wants his face everywhere in the world. He's not really caring about Ukraine. He's only after his own agenda. And you can see more comments here. In the middle of the war in his country, he has time to do cover for Vogue magazine. Exactly. Where does he get the time to do cover for Vogue magazine? And you can see people are laughing. Yeah, he has his priorities in check. You can see the comments there. The next one. Pictured is the Nazi leader with his wife who glorified murderers. Are you out of your mind? He's a Vogue model now. Ukrainians fought an illegal war in Iraq where a million people were murdered. Ukraine also collaborated with the NAZIs and were the right-hand men of the SS. So you can see a lot of people are having, you know, he doesn't have the love that he thinks he does. You know, I would probably say more than half, maybe 60-70% of the comments in Instagram are negative about him and his wife. So he does not think, you know, he does not have the support that he thinks he does from the West. And I think people are seeing the truth. People are realizing this guy is a major hack. All he's doing is begging for weapons and money. And this money is mainly going to him in his fortune. He's named in the Pandora Papers as having over 600 million in his accounts. He has properties in Florida, properties in UK. So this guy, he's got places to go if things fall very flat in Ukraine. He's gonna run off with the money one of these days, and I guarantee it, a bit like what that guy did in Afghanistan. I think it's Ashraf Ghani or something, where he put in a lot of money in his helicopter and just ran away. So people are realizing he's a major hack now, and it's good. It's good to read these comments and see, you know, people are slowly waking up, and and this is why him and his wife are the idiots of the day for me. You've also gonna realize that he's not getting the money when he begs to Congress, when he begs to other countries. So he's not getting the money or the weapons. So what is he doing now? He's sending his wife to do his dirty work. He's sending his wife to beg. And I made a video about this a few days ago. So his wife is now going in front of Congress, giving Biden coronavirus. You know, there's a big report saying that she possibly could have given him coronavirus. And yeah, she's basically sent around the world to beg on his behalf. And it's absolutely sickening, to be honest. And, you know, very, very sickening. So that's all I have time for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of this new model we have with Elensky and his wife. And yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you like the video, you want to support me, you can support me on Patreon or Locals, or you can just buy me a coffee. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.